Good morning or good afternoon, everybody, depending on where you're located. My name is Cindy Schifo. I am the Vice President of Sales here at HealthiestYou. I'd like to welcome you to our National Broker webinar. We're very happy to see so many of you have joined the call as we enter into the long holiday weekend. We are very excited about today's presentation, as Pat Sir will share with you some of the changes within the organization, as well as sales incentives that will benefit you and your clients. In addition to that, you'll hear from Scott Sanford and Paul Kowalski about the amazing synergies that have been created after the recent acquisition of HealthiestYou by Teledoc. Between Teledoc's clinical expertise and HealthiestYou's consumer engagement tools and strategies, we're confident you will agree with us that the solution in the telehealth space is us. So before I hand the call off to Pat, I want to remind you there will be one lucky winner of an Apple Watch. We will draw a name after the call and contact the winner via email and phone call. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Pat Sir, President of Broker Distribution. It's all yours, Pat.
Thanks so much, Cindy. Hello, everyone, and as Cindy said, we sure appreciate all of you joining this call today. We've got a lot of great, exciting information to share with you, and I just wanted to take a few minutes before I hand it over to Scott and Paul just to kind of give you a high-level overview of some of the things that are going on, and as Cindy said, talk to you a little bit about a 2016 sales incentive. But we've been working diligently of bringing our two organizations together, Teledoc and HealthiestYou, and we're making tremendous progress. And this week we had a great meeting in Arizona where we brought all the original HealthiestYou and original Teledoc sales team into Arizona, and we did a lot of training, a lot of discussion, a lot of strategy, and the theme of our meeting was one company, one team, one mission. And I think we left with everybody feeling great about our strategy going forward. And really our goal is to keep it simple for you, our broker partners. We want to have one person calling on you. We want it to be very clear in your minds who you work with in our organization so we can be as effective as possible in helping you write business and helping us grow our businesses together. So we will now have over 30 salespeople in the market calling on all of you. So my expectation is we are going to be in front of you a lot more often than we ever have been in the past. And all that's going to mean, again, is more business for yourself, more opportunities to sell our offering to your clients and really, bring tremendous value. And at the end of the day, lower medical expenses. That's what we're all about at HealthiestYou, is lowering medical expenses, and that's our mission, and that will always be our mission. And what I think you're going to hear from Scott and Paul is that together with Teledoc and HealthiestYou, it's going to enable us to even be more effective at accomplishing our mission, and that's to lower medical expenses. So one of the things I just want to mention to you that we're really excited about is we have rolled out a 2016 sales incentive. And what we're basically going to do is if you write a group with us with a 10/1 or 11/1 effective date, we are going to give a premium holiday for 60 days. Again, this year, 2016, HealthiestYou platform, 10/1 or 11/1 effective date, we are going to give a 60-day premium holiday, which I think is really exciting. If you write a group with us with a 12/1 effective date, we are going to give a 30-day premium holiday. So again, we are putting our money where our mouth is. This is the HealthiestYou platform. We are going to be offering 2 months free with a October 1 or November 1 effective date and 30 days free with a 12/1 effective date. Our goal obviously is to really make it attractive for people to buy our HealthiestYou offering in 2016. That's really what our ultimate goal is. And as you can see, as I mentioned, we're putting our money where our mouth is, and we're really excited to be able to offer this. I'm sure you're going to have additional questions around this. What I would ask you to do is please get with your sales representative if you have any questions about who that might be, send us an email at HealthiestYou. Cindy, Lisa Banna, our sales leaders of our sales force, please send us an email and we will make sure that your salesperson is talking to you right away about this exciting opportunity to write business with us. So with that said, again, we are making a lot of progress. We've come together as one company. You're going to be seeing a lot more of us, and just really excited about our partnership with you and the opportunity that we have to mutually grow our business. So with that said, I'm going to pass the baton over to Scott Sanford and Paul Kowalski so they can talk a little bit more about what our value story looks like now that we've brought these two companies together. Scott?
Great. Thank you, Pat. What an exciting incentive for the holiday for everybody to just share HealthiestYou and Teledoc with everyone out there in the market. Of course, there's a dire need for what we're offering with healthcare costs continuing to increase at such pretty drastic rates. I know we've been working with brokers and consultants across the country and helping them with those renewals where you got to come in with that bad news about the 10% increase, 20, 30% increase in your health insurance costs, and what is the strategy to bend that trend. And HealthiestYou and Teledoc combined, I think, is an incredible component for that strategy, which we'll get into here in just a moment. So thank you, Pat. Great to be here with everybody. Again, my name is Scott Sanford. I have Paul Kowalski on the line with me as well from Teledoc. Now we are one company. We had a great week together, getting everybody trained up on the combined offering. The two companies coming together now, we're right at that 60-day anniversary as of today. And I can tell you, amazingly, typically when you bring two companies together, you have quite a few hiccups with technology, but it's been just abnormally smooth. I think we've had very few issues or complaints that have come in. In fact, our callback times from the doctors have decreased. The number of tickets or questions or concerns we have from members about that doctor experiences have greatly decreased. So the quality of the overall member experience has gone up. The feedback and reviews from the doctor consults, now that Teledoc doctor network and system is plugged into our technology, has been just overwhelmingly positive. So we're incredibly blessed and thankful that the members really didn't see any blips in the service there, and we're getting those issues taken care of quickly. So thank you, everybody involved with that. So let's get into the presentation here. I've got Paul Kowalski on, and again, we are very excited about the two companies coming together. I'm just going to share a few thoughts on what was the motivator behind HealthiestYou and Teledoc coming together, and have Paul share some of his thoughts as well. But as most of you on the call probably know, Teledoc is the pioneer in the doctor-to-patient telemedicine product. They were the first in the industry. They're the largest in the industry as far as number of consultations provided, and they have spent years and a massive amount of resources building out that clinical flow for the member to the doctor, the follow-up, the quality, NCQA standards, all the stuff that goes into that, in-house call center that with tight quality controls. While HealthiestYou the past few years has been spending a massive amount of resources in the front-end engagement and simplifying healthcare for the members so they can really understand all of their healthcare options. When is it appropriate to be reminded about telehealth, to use telehealth? We're always steering to telehealth when at all possible, but we're also exposing all the other components of care and just making healthcare a lot easier for folks. So naturally, the two companies coming together were a great fit, both on the product and member experience side, but both on the culture side as well, which is very important. So HealthiestYou, we're a very high-touch organization with our clients and our members, and everything down to billing and invoicing and commissioning. So the goal is to just take the best of both companies, combine them together, and we have created a product that is second to none in the marketplace, which we're excited about. Paul, I know you're on the line. Do you have a few comments you'd like to add to that about the two organizations coming together? And real quick before you jump in, Paul, for everybody on the line, Paul Kowalski has been with Teledoc for 8 years. He's VP of Employer Sales. He's extremely knowledgeable in telemedicine, been around the space for a long time, and just a key executive on the Teledoc team. Paul, do you have any comments? Paul, are you muted?
Scott, can you hear me?
There you are. We got you.
All right. Can you hear me now?
You sound good.
All right. For some reason, I'm coming in and out. Sorry about that. It's the limits of technology at times. So, Scott, I absolutely agree with everything you've said and Pat said, that this has been a tremendous marriage and one that we've been very excited about on the Teledoc side. And when you think about it in the market, it makes perfect sense. So a couple thoughts is when you look at Teledoc, our march into the market started at the large end of the market. We went after Fortune 500 companies, we went after major national carriers, and we wrote a lot of business in that space for a number of years. It wasn't until the last 2 to 3 years we really started going after the 1,000 and undersized market, and we started that by going after the top 50 brokerage firms by revenues. And it wasn't really even until late last year that we began really trying to penetrate the local broker market in my town, your town, any town. Whereas with HealthiestYou, you all started with going after the local brokers in the local towns and then working your way upstream into the top 50 and then into the larger set. So there's a complete synergy in that we started up and swam down, you started down and swam up, and we've met in the middle, which makes it a perfect way to meet, for the two companies to meet. The other thing that I've been tremendously excited about is the whole HealthiestYou platform, and it really allows the combined company to emerge as a true platform player, not just simply a primary care focused telemedicine company. And when you think about it, the average person probably has 15 or 20 apps on their smartphone, and then there's apps that you use and there's apps that you don't use. And when you think of apps that you use, I think of like iTunes, or I think of the Uber app, or your weather app, or even a map app, things that you use on a bit of a day-to-day basis. And whereas I've always pushed the notion that when we bring on new clients, we want everybody downloading the Teledoc app so that it's on your phone. It creates a stickiness. Even though you're not using it today, you're not sick, it's there and it's a reminder. But that's just it. I don't use my Teledoc app because I'm not sick most of the time. So you look at the HealthiestYou app, and Scott will go into a lot of that, so I won't steal the thunder, but it's an app you use regularly. There's a lot of components to it. Physician finders, prescription checkers, sync with your insurance, all those types of things, recipes. It's something that you use on a day-to-day basis, which really allows, from the telemedicine perspective, a much greater level of stickiness. It's a reminder there almost daily, simply because the app is that robust. So again, couldn't agree more that the marriage is just a perfect symmetry between two very like-minded companies, and it's not hurting at all that we all seem to get along very well. So very much looking to come into a very great partnership that we've got going on. Back to you, Scott.
Thank you, Paul. Very, very excited about where we're headed here. So just to lay the foundation, to expand on what Paul was talking about the platform. So what we learned on early into our telehealth experience was, to Paul's point, it's challenging to just be there for somebody when they're sick. So we wanted to create an ecosystem, and we built an ecosystem that really helped you with all aspects of your healthcare, finding your deductible providers and whatnot. And we like to compare ourselves to some other companies that really took that approach. So Uber did an incredible job of simplifying transportation, yet they don't own any vehicles, but they've got an incredible platform. You hit one button, you put in your address, bam, you're done. The bill is paid at the end, you don't have to worry about tip. You saw your route, you know where the driver's at. Totally changed the game in transportation. Airbnb did the same thing for accommodations, right? They don't own any real estate, but they've got an incredible platform bringing in the social side, matching you up with the right rental property or vacation property that you need. Amazon did the same thing. They don't own any stores, but they move an incredible amount of products. They're forcing certain retailers to shut down. But they're incredible on that platform, matching you up with the right product, suggesting other products that other people have bought with that. Facebook, they don't create any content, yet they're the largest media owner in the world and have the most number of members on their platform. And that's what HealthiestYou's focused on. We don't own any doctor offices. It's all about consumer engagement around healthcare. Healthcare is confusing. We want to simplify that. We want to drive as many consultations as possible. Now, y'all remember that Deloitte & Touche study we like to share periodically. It says 2015 we did about 800,000 consultations as an entire industry, and we're moving to 300 million telehealth, video, and e-consultations in just a few years. We're just getting warmed up. I know as a combined entity, as of this coming week, we will actually have done as many consultations this year as Teledoc did the entire last year. We're on track to break 900,000 consultations as one company. We've got an internal goal here to try to hit 1 million. We can all pop the champagne together, but what an incredible feat to do 1 million consultations in 1 year. And just a few years ago, boy, you know, this industry is really growing. But if you look at the competitors in the space, there are really just telemedicine vendors. You can combine them all. They only have about 30% of the market share. Where HealthiestYou and Teledoc together, over 70% of the market share. So definitely leaders in the space and continuing to do that with huge differentiators from our competitors. So the goal is pretty simple. We all know our care options when you get sick: primary care, urgent care, emergency room, call your mom, Google it, WebMD, whatever you want to do. We just want to teach them to call HealthiestYou first. Get used to interacting with that physician over the phone or video camera, because we can resolve 92% of the calls that come in. So let's get them comfortable with it. Most of the time, we remove that financial barrier with a $0 consultation fee, or maybe a little out-of-pocket expense there for the member if it's not a consultation fee free type model, when there is a fee there. But it's cheaper, it's easier, it's way more efficient. So let's get people used to that. Let's face it, we're a behavior change company at the end of the day. We're going to come in and invest a massive amount of resources into your clients to educate them on how to navigate care easier, save them time and money, use telehealth when appropriate, saves money and time and resources, keeps people on the job. If you look at the top 9 reasons we go to the emergency room, 71% of those ER visits are unnecessary. But the top 9 reasons we go, those are identical to the top 9 reasons that people call HealthiestYou and Teledoc to get their issues resolved. So we're just redirecting all those visits. Now back to the platform that Paul was referencing here. Number one, it's got to be easy to use. So we made it to the industry-leading utilization with just an 800 number in a website because of our high engagement tactics done by our client success team. But now with our technology platforms out there, we can meet you wherever your comfort level is. You may still want to pick up that phone and dial an 800 number, that's fine. But if you love the gadgets, we got gadgets. We're connected to the iWatch, right? The smart watches, we're giving one away here at the end of the call, so stay on. Some lucky attendee is going to walk home with an iWatch. We have the smartphone and handheld device apps. We have your computer connectivity. We have smart TVs, right? You're laying on the couch. All the TVs now connect to the internet. You're laying on the couch not feeling well. You got Netflix. You got Hulu. You got HBO. Well, HealthiestYou should be right there next to it. Fire up your HealthiestYou app, check your deductible, find a provider, initiate a telehealth consult. We did a great Amazon Echo demo as well. That's fun. You've seen those on Amazon, the #1 selling product there. You simply just tell it, hey, ask HealthiestYou to call a doctor. I'm not feeling well. So we'll dial that doctor up and get you on the phone with a physician. But we place the member right in the center of their healthcare needs. So when you poll people on the street, what do you want out of a healthcare app? It's pretty simple. I want to find a doctor that's in network. I want to know how much it's going to cost to see that doctor. So we sync your medical benefits in. You see your EOB, you see your deductible, you see where your co-pays are, and you can find in-network providers easily on an Uber-like type app, on a map that's very, very easy to navigate. We want to know when you're looking for a provider because we're going to merchandise telehealth at that point. We're going to steer you to telehealth and say, hey, as a reminder, you might be able to solve this right over the phone or video, or take a picture and send that in, right? You may not need to go in, but if you do want to go in and find one of those providers and do a face-to-face visit, we're going to help you do that and make sure you stay in network. We, of course, have our telehealth module here. This is Teledoc. They're handling, thousands of calls every single day, right? for folks that are resolving their healthcare issues right over the phone with 24/7, 365 access. We're going to drive those visits as much as possible. Prescription savings tool. People love this tool. It's another way to price out medications outside of your health plan. We're going to shop multiple PBMs in a matter of seconds, find the best cash price for you. Saves you on average about 52% if you look at the numbers from the cash price, and it beats your copay 7 out of 10 times. Awesome tool here. And then we have a procedure pricing tool, very basic. How much is an MRI in my area? Put in MRI, choose from a list. It's going to show you the low, average, and high cost based on your health insurance coverage for an MRI in your area, so that consumer is educated and aware of those expenses. Now we're on to the doctor network section. I'm going to pass this back to Paul here, and he's going to tell us about the incredible Teledoc clinical side of what you do. Go ahead, Paul.
Thanks, Scott. And can you hear me again?
Sound great.
All right, great. Excellent. So back to the clinical side, at the core of Teledoc's value proposition has always been the physician network. And when you think of the network, really it is a virtual PPO, if you will. But at the core of it, we have put 100% focus on the clinical delivery of care as the most important aspect of our business. So when you look back, it's been probably 2 to 3 years now. We were the first player in the industry to be certified by NCQA for credentialing. At the time, there wasn't even a certification from NCQA. We approached them to develop the program so that we could be the first in the industry, and basically NCQA is the gold standard. We've now been certified twice by NCQA for our credentialing, and we scored a perfect 100% score on each of those tests, which is no small feat. As people, we are available 24/7, 365. Our average wait times have come down dramatically over the past few years. So when you look at it, our consult volume has gone up, up, up. The fact that we're staring at the possibility of doing 900,000 to 1 million consults this year is just tremendous. But what we do is we evaluate these charts. So we do a 10% review of all medical charts. When we bring on new physicians, we evaluate all of their charts for a period of 3 months or 100 consults, whichever comes first. We also take the notion that we don't want physicians that are going to come in and do a consult, do 1 a month, 3 a month, what have you. The average Teledoc physician does about 40 or 50 consults each and every month. It's theory of anything you do repeatedly with proper training and coaching, you're simply going to become better and more proficient at it. So we review 10% of the charts. That's meaning we're probably going to do in excess of 90,000 chart reviews this year, which is probably more chart reviews than many of our competitors do as actual consults by the time this year ends. In all of this time, again, our timeliness has gone down. We're averaging 8 to 9 minutes average for a callback when a person needs a physician consult, and that number has actually improved as our consult volume has gone up by leaps and bounds. Our satisfaction levels are tremendous. They stay at the top of scale every year, and when you look at the physicians, people ask, who are your physicians? Are they in a call center somewhere taking phone calls? These are docs in your town, my town, any town. These are bricks and mortar physicians that have private practices. About a third of our network are emergency room physicians, where they're used to schedules that are on call for 3 or 4 days in a row, followed by being off for 3 or 4 days. And it's in those times that these physicians have a couple days here and there that they can take consults. Since they are emergency room docs, they're used to that overnight schedule. So we have plenty of calls that come in the middle of the night. We field them very quickly. Our average physician is now probably almost 20 years of experience, and we require them to have at least 5. So you're not looking at physicians right out of med school. You're looking at established physicians, and we take the monitoring and the compliance. Our QA committee is meeting several times a week at this point, and we make sure that we're delivering the highest quality of care, and the satisfaction results that we're getting year after year are a testament to this. Next slide, please. We've also moved our platform, so we're stepping out of the realm. I mentioned we're moving into more of an engagement platform, really using the term platform. We introduced behavioral health this year, and this is now a longitudinal type encounter. So whereas primary telemedicine, it's one and done. Typically, you have one, maybe two consults a year. Behavioral health is intended to be longitudinal. You select your provider. You're intending to see that person over and over again. It is a specialty and primary model. So at the specialty end, we are working with psychiatrists in 49 in each of the states we operate in. There's only 2 or 3 to go at this point. And on the primary side, it's psychologists and social workers. It's a great program. Again, it just came out of the gate this year. We're starting to see some pretty good uptick in that program now. We also moved into the dermatology space this year as well. And that's just a natural extension. When you look at wait times around the country for securing appointments with physicians, dermatologists are very difficult to get in to see. They typically have wait times that can be 2 to 3 months. So it made sense that you can handle a lot of dermatology on a remote basis. Everybody's phones have high resolution images these days. You take 3 or 4 high resolution images, you upload them into the portal, and then you have a dermatology consult from your home. On tobacco cessation, people are trying to quit smoking. The numbers are coming down, but it made sense to enter into that space so that we could, again, continue to widen out the circle of our offerings to the market. You will start seeing Teledoc and HealthiestYou move into more specialty care next year. Starting on the chronic side, we are looking into very heavily diabetes management and perhaps chronic heart failure, looking at diabetes first. These are early 17 projects. So again, you'll continue to see our footprint expand year over year. Telemedicine is here to stay, and as the leader in the industry, we intend to expand our footprint and remain the leader for years to come. Back to you, Scott.
Thank you, Paul.
One more. I forgot about that. I didn't realize I had one more. So these are just a little bit of a look at the numbers, and this is the stuff that is just very meaningful. Year after year, our patients are telling us that they just love Teledoc. They'll recommend us to their friends. They would use it again. And very important, we are resolving 92% year after year. And that number bounces between 92 and 94. This is based on member-reported data. It's also based on claims validation through third parties such as our carrier partners that watch the trends as telemedicine is happening within their systems. Are their members going back to primary care physicians within the next month after a consult? And overwhelmingly, they are not. And it's a key indicator as to why both the clients at Teledoc and on the HealthiestYou side, we're not losing very many clients, maybe 5% a year. And I'd say the most important one is that we've done a lot of data analytics in the last couple of years. When you start doing 500, 600, 800,000 consults in a year, you build a very robust library. So whereas we used to say that an average savings was maybe $200 to $250 per use, we now have longitudinal claims validated studies that are showing that the average savings are now up in the $600, $700 range, and this is by measuring episodes of care over 30-day periods, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a case study later in the program. Now back to you, Scott.
All right, thanks, Paul. Great information there. Yeah, with more and more data coming out, and we've got over 12,000 employer groups, and I know Teledoc's got thousands and thousands of employer groups. And with all the independent studies coming out, it's great to see the real plan savings that's happening in there. This 673, came from a Harvard study backed with a large employer group that was followed for a long period of time. So the savings is incredible, and I can't wait to walk through that, a few of those samples here in just a minute. On the innovation side, so we get rave reviews on our technology and our app, and just the feedback that comes in on a day-to-day basis is just amazing how this is really changing the lives of people to really make healthcare easy and understand their options and be able to navigate. So one of the cool things we use, geofencing, get rave reviews on this. Pretty simple, real-life scenario. It may be 11 o'clock at night on a Sunday. You're not feeling well, you got a long work week coming up, maybe that bronchitis is setting in because we're coming up to bronchitis season here pretty soon when those seasons start to change. right? That has wreaks havoc on folks' body. So before HealthiestYou and Teledoc, you'd get up and you'd go over to probably the urgent care center if you're lucky enough to have one around you, maybe the emergency room. And you downloaded the HealthiestYou app, though, at open enrollment maybe 3 months ago, but you forgot about it. So you go to that urgent care center, you get there, your phone beeps and vibrates, and it says, it appears you're in an urgent care center. We wanted to remind you that you do have HealthiestYou and Teledoc. Click this green button, let's connect right now. So as you're looking at those 10, 15 people in front of you in line, emergency room average wait's 3 hours, you're going, I'm going to click this button here, do this consult. I forgot I've got HealthiestYou, pick up my medication on the way home. Might save yourself a couple $100, especially if you haven't hit your deductible yet. That may be your copay for the visit. And everybody's happy. So it's about changing that behavior and just reminding people about HealthiestYou and what it's there to do for them. We do the same thing at pharmacies. It appears you're in a pharmacy, right? If you go there, your phone beeps and vibrates. If you're there to pick up medication, price it out real quick. We could save you a ton of money. And just did a call this morning with one of our distribution partners, and he said, I went in to pick up medication. I showed him my health insurance card. With my plan, it was $86. Priced it on HealthiestYou, $47. Exact same medication, exact same location. We've got story after story on that. It's an incredible benefit. The goal at the end of the year, keep those pharmacy claims out of the plan as much as possible, the expenses around that, and then keep those doctor visits down so we can save everybody quite a bit of money. Okay, let's jump to the HealthiestYou app here and give you all a quick demo. While I'm pulling this up, as a reminder, you can certainly use the chat box or the questions box there in your GoToMeeting control panel, and we'll be sure to try and hit as many of those as we can here at the end of the call. So write down those questions in the box, and we'll do our best to get to them. All right, hopefully you all can see my iPhone synced up to my computer. I've got the HealthiestYou app up. This page here is called Radar. It looks a little bit, oh, Siri, I don't want to talk to you. It looks a little bit like Uber, but instead of cars and limos and taxis, it's got your healthcare options. You can narrow the search. These are in-network, so I'm on an Aetna plan. These are my doctor office locations around me, my pharmacies, my urgent care centers, my hospitals, and even veterinarian locations. Yes, the veterinarian visits aren't going to reduce your costs in your health plan, but they are going to make you come back to that app. And let's face it, we love our pets in this country. They're a part of the family. My sister leaves her TV on for her dog when she leaves for work. It's crazy, right? They're a part of the family. Let's help you find those veterinarian locations around you as well, because we don't want to forget about those pets. But you can click on one of these buttons here. Let's look at Jerry, Dr. Sobel. Click Details. Pop-up provider comes on. Be sure to always call that provider search. Make sure they're still taking your health insurance, because they may have changed that morning. It's always a moving animal here. You'll see the Telehealth being merchandised up top. Hey, if you want to connect with a doctor right now, just click this button. We'll dial you right in. If you want to keep learning about Jerry, he's got 4.5 out of 5 stars from his Better Doctor rating. So you can go to betterdoctor.com, check out their site. All they do is rank physicians and try to match the right physician up to that particular patient. We pull in that data. You see this doctor's bio here. They're in the top 20. He's in the top 20% of physicians in the country. Here's his locations. You can call, schedule an appointment. That particular doctor's background, where they went to school. If you're a Michigan State fan, maybe you don't want to go see this doctor. He's from University of Michigan. Just teasing, since football's coming up here. But all kinds of good information to help you choose the right physician there and make it easy. You want to visit a doctor, just choose yourself here. This will be a telehealth consult. Choose yourself or a family member. Fill out your questionnaire right online. You answer those questions there. The same information you filled out when you go to the doctor office and they hand you that clipboard, right? You fill it out. You just move the toggles here on your phone. Fill that information out. You choose phone or video. You want to upload any photos. Bam, off you go. You're ready. You're usually connected on that doctor in 9 minutes or less. So faster than you can even think about getting dressed and finding your doctor's phone number to schedule an appointment for a week later. You're on the phone doing the consult, resolving your issue, and getting on with your day. The medication pricing engine, again, get rave reviews on this. Let's do a quick one. Lipitor, put in any medication, click compare prices. We're going to shop about 6 different PBMs, find the best cash price for you. Well, $322, that doesn't sound like that good of a deal, But the problem is you just priced out a brand medication. They're very expensive. So if you want to go with the brand, it's $322.70. But look up top. You can save up to $313. We're going to switch it to generic. So maybe you want to go generic on that because you're paying out of pocket because you haven't hit your deductible, and you want to save $313. Well, now you're down to $9.61 at Albertsons as an example. Add this right to your Apple Wallet. Generates a coupon. If you're on Google, same thing. Generates that coupon. Show it to the pharmacist. They scan it. Boom, off you go. You saved yourself a ton of money. Kept the claim out of the health plan. Everybody's happy. Simplified care. What do? You come back to work at Monday, you say, oh my gosh, I saved $83 on my medication using my HealthiestYou app. Check it out. High five. Tell everybody around the office about it, and off you go. That's called driving engagement and utilization. Shopping of the procedures, very simple. Choose a procedure. Always do MRI. Everyone can relate to that. We did a colonoscopy the other day. We were picking on Paul a little bit. Gave an incredible price range on that. Let's choose brain MRI. And let's see what the cost is. So based on my coverage through Aetna, the low, average, and high cost right here in my zip code is $346 to $896. So why is this helpful? If you're on a high deductible like myself, haven't hit my deductible yet, doctor says you need to go have a brain MRI. Holy cow, how much is this going to cost me? Is this, $300 or $30,000? Consumers don't know because there hasn't really been pricing transparency in the healthcare space until now. We're starting to see more and more of that, which is great. So now, okay, the worst I'm going to have to pay is, $900, but I'm going to try to find that place for $345 because I'm paying out of pocket. So now you're an educated consumer. You can make some decisions, and you're steering and navigate healthcare in an easier, more efficient fashion. When I click on check insurance, this is simply synced to Aetna in my example. I just switched, was on United Healthcare 30 days ago, just started a new plan, zero towards my network deductible for individual and family. You can see that. I see my caps on individual and family. My coverage overview, when it started, what the plan is, any copays. I'm on an HSA. I don't have any copays. So I'm paying out of pocket till that deductible is hit. That's why it's showing zero there. If you have copays, it'll itemize those for you and show you those. So let's look at circles. This is a really nice tool. You just you like your favorite providers in here. So if you want to say, hey, who was that doctor I looked up the other day and met with? I can find it quickly, go right back to him, find the location, schedule the appointment, and off you go. So it's just an easy way to find your favorite physicians and medications and whatnot. Maybe you are taking a maintenance medication. You put that in here. You store it. We're continuously going to shop that for you. If we find a better deal, you'll get notified, hey, there's a better deal on that medication. Let's save you a little bit more money. Always working for the consumer, the patient, and the member to, again, just make that experience great. So shortcut pages today, just kind of got some fun quotes in here, some healthy motivational information by Dr. Kelly there, and you can use the top 3 used components of the app and get there a little bit quicker. So that is the overview on the app. Hopefully that came through for everybody. And any questions on that, again, use your chat box here. So let's jump back to the PowerPoint presentation and talk about one of my favorite divisions at HealthiestYou called Client Success. So we've kicked our neighbors out here. We're at the top floor of City North here in High Street in North Phoenix. Our neighbors, we've asked them to take their space over. They're moving. We're on the entire top floor here on High Street. We're building in a redundant call center with Teledoc. If you haven't seen their facilities in Lewisville, Texas, they got 250 seats, in-house call center, separate division for Spanish speaking, can handle over 250 languages across the world. It's incredible. Built for scalability because we're going to do 1 million consultations this year and continue that every single year. But our client success team is growing like crazy. We're expanding that. Why do we love the client success team? It's a broker's best friend, okay? They are here to work on your behalf. When you sell a group, our client success team reaches out to that director or that champion at that company. We're going to make sure they got all the information they need for HealthiestYou, the marketing materials, the start date, the message. We support on webinars. We cover really every angle of educating that consumer, making sure they're downloading that app. We do app drives because we know once you get this app in the hands of people, holy cow, the geofencing starts going. Now 50% of our calls our telehealth initiated consultations are coming through the app. It is growing rapidly. Feedback's been amazing. But we're going to hit just about every angle for covering awareness and engagement, and that's what that client success team does every day. We just rolled out a new association, just as an example, 6,000 employees, 500 employers in this group. We called all 500 companies the month before, made sure they got the information ready to hand at those little companies averaging about 10, 12 employees to make sure everyone knows about HealthiestYou. Here's our fulfillment kit. You'll notice our marketing, very tongue-in-cheek, very fun, very lighthearted, very different than what you see typically in healthcare. We get a lot of positive feedback on that. We kick off a very fun email marketing campaign that's seasonal. This one happened to be focused on school starting, right? You see this little boy kind of picking his nose. Back to school is upon us, and you know what that means. Germs are spreading like crazy, so be aware that you've got HealthiestYou and Teledoc, and we're ready to take care of those consultations because flu season's coming here soon too. Targeted campaigns, bigger opportunities. We get creative. We do our Tabasco secret sauce campaign. The ingredients on that are pretty simple. Reduced absenteeism, reduced claims, right? Increased productivity. You got to have this in your suite of offerings. We do a flip-flop campaign. Send one flip-flop out. If we can't reach you, you're being quiet on us. We're going to send you one flip-flop. Make us do a call with you so we can educate you about it, and then we'll send you the other flip-flop. And then we have some fun with our pizza campaign. But that's just to show you we do get creative. We have fun with this. We make sure that that people know what they're getting and use it. Let's jump back here to our reporting tool. So this is a tool that brokers, consultants, and admins have access to, so you can see the utilization within a group. So this company here, 5,000 employees, they've done 1,224 consultation, 32% utilization already. Here's the redirection rate. So when you schedule that appointment online, we're going to ask you, if you didn't have HealthiestYou, where were you going? Were you going to urgent care, emergency room? Were you going to call mom? Were you not going to do anything? We want to know that information because we're going to share it back. So when you're coming back to meet with that client and you say, guess what? We had 404 emergency room redirects at $1,200 a pop. High five. That more than paid for the HealthiestYou program alone for the entire year. And we haven't even talked about primary care and urgent care yet. This is truly a benefit the groups cannot afford not to have. Top 5 complaints are right here. Top 5 medications, time of day of the calls, heat map. This company here has got multiple offices across the country, as you can see, and people on the road. Where are those consultations happening? You got this information. You can show it on the website. You can print it off in a nice PDF form. When you come in to beat that competition on the finalist presentation, you're going to be armed and dangerous with HealthiestYou and Teledoc. Or if you're coming back for that renewal, why are they going to quit HealthiestYou, or why are they going to quit you as your broker? Because you just bended the trend in healthcare and you're sending care to more efficient locations like HealthiestYou and Teledoc. Now you're the hero. Now it's harder to lose that business, right? We're all about utilization. Everything we built is about utilization. Do you think we spent millions of dollars building out geofencing on the app because we don't want people to use it? No. That's there because we believe the highest utilization in telehealth wins for everybody, because that means millions of dollars of savings on the back end for these companies and these health plans. We've got to shift it. It's out of control. The telehealth vendors out there are competitors that are not focused on engagement. They're just coming in to sell you a product, a low-cost product that you put in, and they kind of hope nobody uses it. Well, it's working well. They're hitting about 1 to 5% utilization. HealthiestYou, in our employer group business, average utilization year 1's 42%, year 2, 58%, and it's going up and up and up. Let's look at the numbers. There's a 500 employee group, right, on the HealthiestYou broker pricing here. Now we got an awesome pricing incentive coming out. Got to take advantage of that. But let's look at this. 500 employees. They hit 42% utilization. That's 210 consultations where people resolved their issue without having to go in. That average savings of $673 that came from the Harvard study. It's $141,000 in savings. You only spent $36,000. $105,000 ROI. Year 2, 58% utilization, 290 consults. $195,000 savings. You're spending $36,000. I don't know about you, but I would love if somebody would say, hey, give me $36,000 at the end of the year. I'm going to give you 195 back. I'll take it. I'm in. Where do I write the check? Large employer success stories. I want to pass this back to Paul. This is an awesome Teledoc success story here that he's going to walk us through real quick. Paul, go for it.
Absolutely. Thanks again, Scott. So we've done a lot of case studies over the years, and the important thing is as we get larger and larger, those numbers just keep getting better and better. So the first one is you saw earlier the number 673. It was actually higher than that, but as we represent it to the market, we massaged numbers a little bit and actually made the number come down a little bit, because in the major consulting circles they were challenging 1157 outright, even though the numbers are there in front of them. So this is a large national home retailer. There's two of them, and we have them both, fortunately, as clients, the two largest ones. This is where our analysis really started moving away from member self-reported data over to deep analysis, longitudinal claim studies. And in this instance, what happened and where we really turned the analytics on its head were, Scott mentioned earlier on the way in, we always gauge, well, what would you have done had you not used Teledoc or HealthiestYou? Would you have gone to a primary care physician, a specialist, an urgent care, or an emergency room, or done nothing? And the challenge is people don't always tell you they don't always do what they say they're going to. So in a typical year, 8 or 9% of people who use Teledoc say, I would have gone to the ER instead. Well, with this large national retailer, the reality of the situation became that about 20% of them who could have used Teledoc went to the emergency room instead. And when you think about an average savings on emergency rooms, people kick out the number $1,000, $1,500 as standard garden variety answers. When we actually measured this population control study against a user study, what we found out was the 30-day episode of care, those who went to the emergency room, then some of them went back. They went back to doctors. There's all sorts of labs and tests and everything like that. That 30-day episode of care was about $2,650. And when 20% of the people who could have used Teledoc went to the emergency room instead, you couple that with those who went to the office visits, primary, specialist, urgent, it blended to an average of about $1,150 savings per episode. We made it a little more conservative in the actual case study that's out there, where the numbers we're representing is about 673, and we're using that as a running average these days. But when you take into effect the amount of PEPM that this client spent and the savings they got back at about $5.5 million in savings, that was a 9-to-1 ROI. That's pretty good in any industry, and it's hardly ever heard of in the healthcare industry. We actually brought down their cost of healthcare by about $20 per member per month. Another one was Rent-A-Center. They're a long-time client of Teledoc. They've been with us over 4 years now, moving, I think, closer to 5 at this point. Same thing. We did a longitudinal case study with them. They have a younger population. Their average age is 29 or 30, whereas the large home retailer was closer to 40. So their numbers were down a little bit. Their ER spend a little lower. But when you look at their averages, we're seeing about a 12-to-1 ROI with them. They've saved about $1.7 million in the last year alone, and that's year over year. They're saving $1.5 million to $2 million each year with Teledoc, and we're in our 5th year with them at this point. And what's really interesting about this client, Rent-A-Center, is that we actually have analytics that show that as Teledoc use went up in the early years, now their pattern is leveled off, but in the early years as Teledoc use went up, their emergency room use went down. So a direct impact on emergency use by promoting Teledoc and getting it out in front of them and encouraging people to use Teledoc whenever appropriate, and it's paid off. 2 case studies don't a market make, and what I also like to show from time to time is we have 5 or 6 slides that show about 80 to 100 clients that are in the Fortune 500 that have at least 2,500 employees with us and have at least 5% utilization, which is the number that at a minimum we're seeing break-even ROI. We're actually higher than that at 5%. But in order to even make that list, you had to have 2,500 people and a floor of 5% utilization. So when we're at 10, 15, 20, 25, 30%, and those examples exist, we're seeing 2 to 1, 3 to 1, 5 to 1 ROI, 7 to 1, and we've got enough examples that it is a trend and it's happening year over year. And the longer we're at it, the more we redirect care from more expensive settings, the more ROI we deliver to a large bank of clients. And back to you, Scott.
Thanks, Paul. Great overview on that case study. Let's look at a couple more. Let's go down in group size here. So for those of you working in those smaller employer groups, let's look at this one here, 146 employees. They had a telemedicine vendor for a couple of years, didn't really see any change in their claims, and so the broker switched to HealthiestYou, and massive change in claims, 39% reduction the first year, about a $31,000 ROI, 2.2 fewer PTO days per employee. Here's another one, a little bit bigger, 225 employees. This was a public entity, a school district. They crushed it first year, 86% utilization. That superintendent really got passionate about this product because their insurance had been increasing between 10 and 20% every year for the past few years. So we said, we got to really make sure people use this HealthiestYou. And they did. They used it. They saw a negative 2% increase that year because they did so many telehealth and video consultations. So he was able to give a little bit of a raise and bonus to those students. Here's a self-funded example, 2,200 employees, 44% utilization first year, $311,000 ROI. There's a question on the chat box about showing if they're switching to telehealth, what's happening to the visits. Well, this Humana rep was blown away when she's coming back to meet with a client and said, your urgent care spend went down 37%. What did you guys do? And the consultant said, well, they've got HealthiestYou. They did 1,071 telehealth consults. Of course, their urgent care spend went down. So that company went back and said, look, I don't need to offer a $25 primary copay when everyone's doing this telehealth thing. Let's bump that up a little bit. So it saves them a ton of money on their premium spend and the overall spend for the coverage. And it really forces the way benefit plans are designed, which is kind of our next discussion, is how do I sell this in the market for maybe some folks that are new here to HealthiestYou and Teledoc. I can tell you what folks are having major success with out there. It's very simple. When you go to meet with an employer group, it doesn't matter if there are 5 employees, 500 employees, or 50,000 employees. They all have similar issues. HealthiestYou and Teledoc should be the absolute center of that benefit plan. So try this next time when you're meeting with a client and say, you know what, I've been doing a lot of research in the space. There's a new company out that is really changing the way we access care for the member, for your employees, and it's called HealthiestYou and Teledoc, right? So we're going to give this to everybody at the company first. This is part of the plan. You choose health insurance, you get this. They're going to have 24/7, 365 access. Let's make it free to them. Let's do a no consultation fee model. We're going to sync your health plan so they can find the providers, they can see their deductibles. So no longer do you get these calls into the HR team. Hey, how do I find an in-network provider? Where's my deductible? Well, it's right on the HealthiestYou app. It's all synced in. We'll show them how to save up to 85% on medications, how to price procedures. We're going to really become a behavior change entity that's going to educate your employees, and they're going to be more efficient with their healthcare spend. Let's start there. Then let's design the benefit plan around it. So now that they've got HealthiestYou and they can go there for 70% of their issues, what's the appropriate major medical to package with that? And that's where the expertise of everybody here on the phone. You guys know your plans, your options. You're really good at that. Match them up with those plans that give you 3 doctor visits, right? The premium's really low. Then after the 3 doctor visits, you pay for everything out of pocket, like a high deductible plan. Perfect match for HealthiestYou. So if you do it right, at the end of the day, the company's actually going to spend a little bit less on their overall premium, but the value to the member is going to be a lot higher. We have some folks across the country that have really become experts at that. Do you need to plug in, a gap plan or some kind of a supplemental medical? You can do that. Then you get into your ancillary, your dental, your vision, your stop loss. We're having some stop loss providers that are reducing their ag and so on, and paying out of the claims bucket to help those self-insured groups because they know the visits are going to be less with Healthiest You. So pricing, as you all know, this is our employer-paid pricing here by group size. 2 to 99 is $9, 100 to 249, $8. Price goes down as the group gets larger. Anything over 1,000, give us a call. We're going to get you a quote on that. We'll see if we can sharpen that pencil. But every one of these tiers, we've priced this to where that group has an extremely high chance of showing a nice ROI. Remember that analysis we did on the 500 life group at that $6 mark. I mean, huge ROI on that because we're driving great utilization and it's just so costly to go in. When we redirect claims, everybody wins. This is our zero consultation fee pricing. If you have a need for a consult fee model, we can certainly do that. We can support it. We just see the highest utilization in the zero consultation fee model typically, so that seems to be what the market prefers out there. But we're flexible. Reach out to us, email us, call up your rep. We'd love to work with you and get creative on that. So with that, I think we can kind of wrap it up and go into questions here real quick, and then we'll get to our drawing. We'll do a few questions here, and then jump to our drawing here. So let's go to the chat box here. Okay, we had some questions around that ROI and the reduction in emergency room and urgent care visits. We showed some examples of that. Absolutely, we're seeing reduction in those. We had one of our major health plan partners. You all know this provider. It's a household name. They did a very in-depth analysis of our program that's built in one of their health plans, and major reduction in urgent care and emergency room visits when you get that type of utilization there. Okay, will there be a feature able to upload pictures to the app during the consult? So that is live. You may need to update your app. I think it's only about 45 days old. So if you haven't done there, go into the App Store on your Google Play Store there, update your app. But there's some cool new features, videos live. You can upload photos for the doctor, high-res photos. So that has changed. So be sure to download that app if you don't have it, or upload it, or I'm sorry, update it if you need to. Does a member need to have health insurance to use Healthiest You? No, they do not. This can be a standalone product. We have the voluntary pricing there. Does not need to be built into or provided with a health plan, although that's the majority of our sales are done that way. But you don't need to have health insurance. There's some questions around Blue Cross Blue Shield. So we had a Blue Cross Blue Shield redid their connectivity module here on the accumulator. So if you do have Blue Cross Blue Shield, there's a temporary hold on that. We are making progress on updating that module. So we hope very soon, I don't have a date, but we hope very soon for the Blue Cross folks, you will be able to see your deductible and information hopefully very soon there. In the meantime, you still have all the full access to the Telehealth, the pricing engine, the network finder, all that is still there. You just will have you'll get an error notice on the accumulator. Okay, let's see what other questions we got here. Do we have a marketing flyer yet for the 60-day premium holiday extravaganza for 10/1 and 11/1? I will have to actually check on that. I know marketing is working on those documents. I'm going to be sending those out with the big blast here, so stay tuned for that. Yeah,
Scott, Pat here. Yeah, we are working on that. So we don't have a flyer yet. We just finalized that this week. So there will be a flyer put together on this.
Great. We'll get that out very quickly. Okay. Is there any interest in teledentistry? We have looked at a few teledentist type networks. Still very, very early in that particular vertical, but we're watching that and staying tuned, but we don't have anything scheduled to come out right away. Is the dermatology real-time or store and forward? Paul, that would probably be a better question for you. I'm going to take a stab at it. I know you get response back, and they guarantee 48 hours. It's often a lot quicker than that. But Paul, do you want to expand on the dermatology question there? If you're still with us, Paul? Paul may have had to jump, so we'll respond via email to that question. Do you have a demo app yet? That's a very good question. We're building one. Actually, our dev team is building one on the website for you to go to and be able to demo the app. Not completed yet, so we greatly encourage you to get that HealthiestYou membership for yourself. We have a 30% discount on it. It's extremely inexpensive. Get that app on your phone and be sure you have that so you can demo to your groups. Okay, I think we are getting towards the end here. Does the app connect to the insurance info for all carriers, or will local HMOs or local carriers be on a case-by-case basis? That's a great question. So the carriers we have loaded in represent about 90% of the market right now and growing. We are doing a lot of business with TPAs and so on, so we're pulling in that TPA data into our data repository partner and syncing those pipes up. So it's not 100% of the market. There is a chance a member could have a unique, small, creative HMO type plan that is not connected on the health insurance side. It's pretty rare when that happens, but it's expanding every single month. RX prices are cash, not PBM negotiated price for your health plan, correct? That is correct. It's a cash pricing engine. It's outside of the health plan. It's a separate pricing tool. And again, we'll beat those copays about 7 out of 10 times. Okay, we are just a few minutes over the top of the hour, so I want to go ahead and do this drawing here. Brett has had the pleasure of writing down names, and we had a huge attendance here today. I think we had over 600 folks registered for this, so he's had fun writing these names down and putting them in the bin here to be chosen. So let's see what he's come up with here. We have hope I say the last name right here, a Jerry Coring, Koering, Jerry Coring. It's your lucky day. You are going to be more connected to technology, and you'll be getting geofenced on your wrist as well as in your pocket when you go into urgent care centers, costly care centers, and pharmacy locations. Congratulations, Jerry. You just won yourself an awesome brand new shiny Apple iWatch. So thank you, everybody, for joining. Jerry, heads up, we'll be emailing you with that information and reaching out and contacting you with all the details of that. But thank you, everybody, for joining. Thank you, Paul, for participating and joining us on our HealthiestYou National webinar. We're awesome and excited and happy to be partnered with Teledoc and partnered with you. Pat, as always, thank you for hosting today and being a big part of our national webinar. And everybody have a great rest of your week, and we look forward to working with each and every one of you and helping make healthcare great. Take care.